Hello guys, now let us see how to control speed of induction motor. And we know that your induction motor is also called as a constant speed motor, just like your DC shunt motor. And again, in your DC shunt motor, speed controlling was very easy just by varying the rheostat in the field circuit as well as in the armature circuit. You were able to control speed above the rated speed as well as below the rated speed respectively without any affecting the uh, efficiency or performance of your DC shunt motor. But here it is little bit difficult to control the speed of three-phase induction motor. The reason is your efficiency as well as your power factor will get severely affected if I do so, like varying the rheostats or resistance and all. So it is a little bit difficult here to control the speed of three-phase induction motor, and we shall see why is that. Okay, so we know that for any induction motor, slip formula is S equal to ns minus n divided by ns. You can write this formula in terms of this also. And we can see n is what? Speed of the rotor, actual speed, and ns is what? Speed of the RMF, which is present in the stator, and s is the slip. Slip is what? Difference of speed of synchronous speed as well as the actual speed. So if you want to control the speed n, then what you can do? So you have to have control over this ns as well as you need to have control over s. So let us see, is it possible to have control over ns so that I can have control over speed of the motor? And we know that ns is given by 120 f by p. You can change your p also, but it is a bit difficult here. If you change the number of poles, then what happens? You won't get any smooth control of induction motor, speed control of induction motor. So rather than just going with the p and all, let us try with f. So here, if I have control over frequency, then I have control over ns. If I have control over ns, then I have control over n. So if I have some variable frequency drive or device, then what happens? I can change the frequency. If I can change frequency, then I can control the synchronous speed. So this is how we can control the speed just by changing the ns with the help of frequency. Now, what if I change the slip? Okay, so we know that we can change the slip just by having control over, as we know that control over this E2 and R2. So we know that this equation already we have learned, we have derived this earlier. So if we somehow manage to control over this E2 as well as R2, then what happens then? Your slip will also get affected. We know that for a particular load, if the motor is running, if E2 and R2 is changed, so as to fulfill that load, the same constant load, the slip value will change. If the slip value will change, then effectively, then what happens? The speed will also change. Just remember, you can take an example like a scenario. Say your motor is running for so and so load, a constant load, and now I'm what doing is I'm going to vary the E2 as well as R2. Okay, like you can see, better do with R2 itself. R2 can be changed by connecting your rotor resistance with the external rheostat, like I said in your earlier video. So if I have control over R2, then what happens? The slip does change. So if slip change, then what happens? I can have control over N. So this is how we can control the speed of the induction motor. Like I said, it is performance of induction motor gets affected in terms of power factor as well as efficiency. So it is not easy to control the speed of induction motor. It is a bit difficult when compared to that of your DC shunt motor. Okay, why I'm taking DC shunt motor? Because DC shunt motor is a constant speed motor, we all know. So your induction motor is also same, but speed controlling is a bit difficult. Like I said, how it affects with respect to the slip as well as how it affects to the respect to your. Now let us see the methods to control the speed of induction motor. So we are having here two methods to control the speed of induction motor. One is from the stator side and one from the rotor side. The stator side, we have some four methods here. One is by controlling supply frequency, like I said in the earlier what just now we have discussed, that how to control the frequency and all. To control NS, it's called as V by F control. Let us see why it is V by F control, why we are not calling it as F control and a frequency control. Next one is supply voltage control. Next one is controlling the number of stator poles to control NS. Like I said, it's a bit difficult to do so. Again, you don't get a smooth control, you'll get the step speed and all. Okay. Next one is adding rheostats in the stator circuit. This is already we discussed before, how to control the speed. I mean, how, like it, we discussed this in terms of starter, I guess, yes or not? Adding rheostats in the stator circuit. And from the rotor side and all, we have three methods. Adding external resistance in the rotor circuit. Again, we have discussed this back. The other one is cascade control. The other one is injecting slip frequency voltage into the rotor circuits. Out of this, we will be discussing A, B, D, as well as A, okay, from the rotor side. Now coming to the supply frequency control, or V by F control. So we know that synchronous speed is given by 120 F by P. So now I'm going to vary the frequency so as to control NS, so as to control the actual speed. Now what happens if I vary the frequency? You can see I have a air gap flux formula. Hope this formula you remember. I think I should need to scroll here up so I have to show you the formula. So this equation, you know, so this is the equation which is very similar equation to that of your transformer voltage equation or EMF equation, where we were having V is equal to 4.44 frequency, flux, as well as K is the constant of stator winding, and T is the number of turns per phase in the stator. And it was same voltage equation when it was with respect to your transformer. The same thing we can write in terms of flux. Okay, V by F 1 by 4.44 K into T phase. Like I said, K is your stator winding constant. Okay, and same thing is written here. So you can see when frequency is changed, either it is increase or decrease, it affects your air gap flux. And remember, your machine should always have air gap flux constant, no matter what, whether you are varying the speed or whether load is changing or something, your always air gap flux should be maintained constant. So obviously if I can't touch this constant of the stator winding, I can't touch the stator turns per phase as per this method of concern. Okay, so frequency, if I'm touching this, what happens? The flux, air gap flux gets severely affected. So in order to maintain this flux, air gap flux as constant, I need to what? Change this voltage parameter also. And how I will do this? Very simple. Make sure the value of V by F should be always maintained constant, no matter whether you increase the frequency or decrease the frequency. Okay, for a case, if I increase the frequency, then obviously V by F value will change to, say, V by F is around 2. Let us take an example. Let us say only this V by F value is 2. Say V is around something like 230 or 415 something, and F is around, say, 60 hertz or 40 or something. The value is around, say, it is like 2 or 3. Just an example. Okay, don't take it actual calculation. Now if I vary the frequency, means obviously the 2 value will get changed to some other value, yes or not? So in order to maintain this 2 as 2 itself, I need to vary the voltage in such a manner that V by F should be always maintained constant. So for that I need what? Variable frequency drive as well as variable AC voltage drive. By doing so, what happens? I will always maintain V by F as constant. If I maintain that constant, then flux, air gap flux will also maintain constant. Okay, so that's what I said, it is very difficult to control the speed of motor, of an induction motor. Okay, precisely. Hope this you understood. I can't touch this K1, I can't touch this T phase one, only I can do with frequency as well as voltage. So I varied in such a manner that V by F ratio is always maintained constant, so that air gap flux is always constant. Now you might be wondering why air gap flux, that matters a lot. Yes, air gap flux is that thing which is present between stator as well as rotor. If that gets severely affected, then what happens? Interaction of the main flux, that is stator flux, as well as your rotor flux will get affected. If the interaction what diminishes or changes, then it affects severely, it affects what the performance of the induction machine. So that we need to maintain air gap flux always constant, okay, in terms of magnitude. Okay, that's what we supply voltage, free Fi supply frequency and all. So how to get the variable voltage and supply frequency? For that I need another device. That's why I said it's difficult. What is the device? The device should contains converter as well as inverter. So what converter does? Can see I have a constant voltage and frequency from getting from the company supply. So I'm going to convert it, means going to rectify it. It's going to convert what DC. Again DC is given to inverter, and inverter what it does? It converts DC to AC. And this inverter is variable type. Output you can control in terms of voltage as well as frequencies. Thus this is the setup you require to have variable voltage as well as variable frequency, so that I can feed the stator of induction motor. Thus, by controlling V by F ratio to and maintaining it constant, I can vary the frequency at any desired level. So thus we can control the speed of the induction motor. We need this extra thing. Again, the cost of the machine will increase if you want to do so. Okay. Now here graph here, torque versus slip. Three graphs actually. One graph is normal. The other two are what? This is F1 is greater than F, whereas F2 is lesser than F. You can see my maximum slip was here for normal frequency, but when I increase the frequency from F to F1, so what happens? This maximum slip got changed here, means the maximum slip was reduced. Okay, if I decrease the frequency F2 lesser than the F, the maximum slip got increased. So the maximum slip will change its value, but you can see the maximum torque always remain constant irrespective of whether you change the frequency or not. Okay, and the other disadvantage is you have to bring this individual scheme for your motor so as to control the speed of induction motor. Okay, next one is supply voltage control. Okay, you can see that I can control E2 just by varying the input voltage. As we know that E2 is proportional to the voltage. If I vary the voltage, then what happens? E2 will also vary. Thus I can have control over the torque. If I have control over the torque, then I have control over the slip. If I control over the slip, means I can have control over the speed. Let us see how. Okay, now E2 is proportional to V. Let us assume that it's a low slip region. In the low slip region, I said Sx2 square will be very less than R2, so it is neglected. So I'm going to rewrite this into this. And again, we know that constant R2 is constant. I'm not going to touch the R2 and all, since the topic is of only supply voltage control. Now let us say your machine is connected to the constant load one. So now what happens? As we know, the torque is proportional to SV square. Now I'm going to reduce the voltage. If I'm going to reduce the voltage, now what happens? The torque will also get reduced. If torque get reduces, then what happens? Initially, slip will also what? Decrease. But in order to fulfill the required load, what happens? The torque will again increase. The machine has capacity to increase torque. If the torque increases, then what happens? Slip will also increase. Remember, voltage is not changed here because it is in your hands. Machine doesn't affect the voltage and all. So if torque again increases, then what happens? Slip again increases. If the slip again increases, then what happens? The speed will decrease. Okay, now we have here speed torque characteristics. Okay, we can see one is with the normal voltage, other one is with the reduced voltage. The normal voltage we have maximum torque here, whereas for reduced voltage maximum torque will be here lesser than that, whereas starting torque for normal voltage will be here T start, whereas starting torque for here will be here. Again, the starting torque will reduce if you have reduced voltage. Okay, again I tell you, if I reduce V here, then what happens? Torque will also reduce. So in order to fulfill the constant load and also torque will again increase. How it will increase? It draws more and more current from the input. So if the torque increases by increasing the current and all, then what happens? Input current and all, the slip will also increase. If the slip will increase, then what happens? The speed will decrease. So here what happens? Here the motor may get heated more and more. Why? Because it draws more and more current, and performance as well as efficiency of this method will be severely affected.